And the reason we eventually purchased Bemer is because of my 5-year-old son, which if you saw him, he was the one in the blue plaid shirt walking around. But August 2015, we were going to psychologist. I have a friend who's a psychologist, pediatrician. We were trying to figure out what was going on with him. He would get into a brain fog. He started displaying autistic-like symptoms. I work for early steps and early intervention, so I know a lot about autism, neurological issues, and I started seeing some of that stuff coming out. Like, he was regressing into autism. We had no doubt that if we would just continue down the path, he would have autism. I mean, he started hand flapping, he did some stimming, running in circles. We came across, actually, Jackie.
I was his teacher.
She was his teacher, so that's kind of how we got involved. And she just said, have you ever considered his diet? And I talked to the pediatrician about the diet.
Food allergies, yeah.
And food allergies, yeah. The only thing the pediatrician said was, well, try giving him coffee every once in a while, because, it would do the reverse effect. That was her, no one ever talked about a whole food diet, processed food, red dye, yellow dye, any of that stuff. So I started doing my own research, and then we met Dr. Springer, who said sugar is bears arsenic, and then I just went crazy with my research, and I became obsessed. I joined all these biomedical recovering kid groups, because you can heal from autism in certain situations, and eventually he was diagnosed with an autoimmune disorder, we purchased Bemer September this year. As soon as we heard about it, I did some research, but before that time, once we learned about whole food diet and what we needed to do, he did start making progress. It would go up, and then it would still go down a little bit, and then he was exposed to mold at this new school that ran havoc on his immune system, and he just digressed, broke out this huge rash. His behaviors were out of control.
Exposed to what?
Mold at a school. Yeah, and I didn't know anything about mold, and then I started researching that like I do, because I'm crazy about research. And then it was the Bemer that, oh my God, once we got the Bemer, that took care of the mold, and ever since we purchased Bemer, every week that's gone by, he gets a little better, a little better. It wasn't quick, like in 2 weeks, oh my God, he was a normal child. We started with the basic plan, which I know if you purchase Bemer, you have to start low on the settings. But every week that went by, he got better and better and better. Now I talked to his teacher. He's still currently in an ESC class, but they're transitioning him back to mainstream, the kindergarten class. But I talked to his teacher every single week, and she tells me it's a miracle what has happened to Bear since August. She said he's like a different child. I mean, he would, a couple occasions he would run, like he would just run out of the classroom, and one time he tried to escape school, but it was just horrible. Oh my God, I cried thinking about where he was, but I'm almost at a point now where I can say his autoimmune disorder has been cured. His progress is phenomenal. I mean, I think every child with any sort of neurological issue going on needs Bemer, no doubt. And I want to find a way to get the word out, because I know there's so many parents just like me that were frustrated contacting. At one point, I even talked to a doctor in Australia. I mean, that's how obsessed I was with research as to what I could do to make him better. But this is his progress behavior report from last week. In August, he was getting 1s and 2s. That was every day, 1s and 2s. Oh, where'd he go? But now you can see I don't know what happened that day. This was last week, but typically he gets 4s, straight 4s. The teacher is it's a miracle, and she says the principal thinks it's all about her teaching. And then finally I told the teacher, that's what she said. She said, I'm just a really good teacher. And I said, you are good. I said, but then I told her about the electromagnetic therapy, and she was like blown away too. But that just shows where his behaviors have come. And I talked to his teacher every week, and I told her, send other parents to me if they're interested in learning about this. And I have a psychologist who's a friend of mine also in Gainesville, and I'm trying to get her involved because she sees so many kids with autism.
There's so many kids in our school that need so much help, and it's so crazy. And
yeah,
it's so sad. I wish I can tell them I don't until they leave, and then I'm like, Bonnie. But it's so sad.
And I want to, and I would take anything away from what you said about Bemer, certainly it has been, but I also want to make sure you give credit to yourself, because you've transformed your entire family.
Yeah.
So that's the point I want to make, is that Bemer doesn't cure anything, but it enhances things like what Bear has going on neurologically, because we've heard a lot of people with kids with ADD and ADHD and autism, and depression and anxiety. these things are changing because, you know, the chemicals are all based upon nutrition flow and all based upon oxygen flow. And your hard work with what you did nutritionally and the work we did getting his gut stabilized and all this stuff has cumulatively gone into that process. And so make sure you get some of your
Yeah, and I get it, when you even mentioned diabetes, I got teary-eyed, like the childhood diabetes, the processed food and the crud is everywhere, and the temptation is insane. And Bear's on a whole food diet. Now that he's doing so good, we do cheat every once in a while. Like yesterday, I gave him a gluten-free gingerbread. But 6 months ago, I would have never given him anything like that. He's basically whole food completely. So, but that's his testimony, and I can give that because he's my son. But it has been phenomenal, and I just get teary-eyed because a year and a half ago, I thought he was going to be diagnosed autism. And you saw him today. You saw him walk through. He looked like a regular kid. Nobody would think anything else.
Yeah, and the other part of that, he had been, you know, the trouble you had with schools and keeping him in schools and all those, that was heartbreaking for you.
And when I met her, I said, man, if I would have only just met you a year ago.
Yeah.
Give George a year. Like, and I knew, and it was so hard because it's happened. We just had 2 twins start, or twins on Monday. They're out fighting, kicking, screaming, punching. And I can't be like pitching these moms, you know, but Bonnie's like, send them to me. And this mom is beside herself. She has no answers. She's not going to get any answers. And it's so sad.
Diet did help, no doubt. Bemer just, it was the final
Icing
factor.
on the
So,
cake.
and I am 100% sure it is the Bemer recently, because we did the basic plan. We put the notch, I think it was like 7 intensity, and then once you get to a certain week, you're supposed to back it back down. A day and a half after we backed it down to 4 or 3 intensity for Bear, the behavior started coming out. It was about a day and a half, so I'm 100%. And I told Mike, I said, we need to knock it back up. I don't care what it says. So we pumped it back up to 7 for him. So I'm 100% sure it's the Bemer. But also, our whole family's been benefiting from the Bemer. Like my husband, he's a cancer survivor, and now because we're paleo and we're doing Bemer, I have no doubt his cancer will never come back. I mean, we know with certainty. We feel amazing. Both of us have way more energy. We sleep better. I mean, it's become a part of our life. I used to have anxiety. I don't have any anxiety. I feel great. God, so many things I can think of it has done for us. And I don't want to talk too long, but I'm still nursing the toddler that ran by. And when I first started using Bemer, I actually became engorged the first time I pumped up the intensity. It's just funny because blood's flowing. It's making my body do what it's supposed to do. Of course, that's not going to happen to anyone else, but I just think that's really
I think
funny.
all those moms who can't breastfeed because they have no milk, you know?
Yeah.
Milk doesn't come in. That's a selling point.
But it's like my body's doing what it's supposed to do, finally. It's just, so if anyone ever wants to hear more about my story, I could talk for hours. So, I really could.
We love you, buddy.
So I'll
Thanks,
sit
buddy.
down. Thank
That's
you.
such a great